What is up, everybody? Oh, there he is. He just jumped in. Uh, Man, it's Tuesday. It's time to talk some football. But you know what? Today we're going to talk it a little differently than what you may be used to. Uh, Jay on Sunday had the pleasure to interview Mike Kelly, who is the commissioner of the new Continental Football League. They obviously, we talked to the Texas Syndicate, Quincy from up there. Obviously, they announced that the San Antonio Toros are going to be resurrected. So we had a chance to talk to the boss of the league, and I mean it's a good 47-minute interview. So, uh, Jay, is there anything you want to say before we just kind of get into it?
Well, first of all, hopefully you guys can hear me. I am coming from the Bill Miller studio tonight. Not that Bill Miller's is gone, but I wish it was. That would be really nice. It's going to be a really informative interview. So we really, want you guys to tune in and ask questions while the show is going and stuff. Maybe we can answer them live, but definitely listen to the interview because Mike Kelly has a lot of good information here. And I think this is going to be some good information for those that are kind of wondering what's the deal with this league? Why are we resurrecting it? What's going on? How are they going to pay for it? Stuff like that. There's a lot to digest here. So it's going to be a really informative episode. So stick around, watch it, and then we'll answer any questions after the interview.
Yeah, and post some questions in the chat while you're watching. We'll be watching along with it, and we'll kind of dive into it once it's done. So, I mean, without any further ado, let's get into it.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Glad you're getting to join us. This, of course, is going to be a recording that we're going to be showing on Tuesday. But I want to introduce my guest to my side here. This is Mike Kelly. He's the commissioner of the Continental Football League, the newly launched and reinvigorated Continental Football League. But some of you fans maybe know who he is, maybe you don't. Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your football background? Because you have quite a pedigree.
Well, I I was presented with so many unique opportunities, and I never wanted to turn any of them down because there were always new challenges and new responsibilities. And, you start recognizing, hey, people think I have a certain skill set to do this or that. And then it takes you in a variety of ways. And I've had NFL people tell me that they have trouble identifying me. Am I a player personnel guy? Am I a coach? What am I? And of course, in the NFL, it's all about identification, right? They don't if they don't know how to define you, there's a problem. And I had a wonderful career. I played small college football in Ohio. Got into high school coaching there. I was at a school that only had 450 kids in the entire school. It was right in the middle of the largest popcorn producing county in the country. And when I would be up in the press box, it was like the field of dreams. You could see the cars winding through the corn to get to the stadium. It was a pretty cool experience. But you arc it to all the way to I coached in the Pro Bowl in the NFL, and I'm on the field with the very best players in the world. So I've gone from a tiny, small little high school with, I don't know if we had our numbers up over 40 kids in the JVs and the varsity, and then to coaching in the Pro Bowl. But I've been a head coach at the college level. Had nice success there. I've been a head coach and general manager in the Canadian Football League. I worked with the Philadelphia Eagles as in pro personnel and as a coach with Andy Reid. Worked in Washington with Steve Spurrier and Joe Gibbs, advancing games for those two guys. So it's been a really eclectic experience for me. I actually got out of the NFL. I had two daughters that were at that tough age, sixth grade to freshman kind of thing. And so I became a professor of sport management at Drexel University in downtown Philadelphia. And I coached both my girls, basketball and softball, and had a blast. And then I came back into the CFL after that. But I've been the director of the Canadian Football League draft camp, development camp. It's been a really eclectic career for me, and this kind of ties everything in together now, to get this thing up and running, and I always like the fact that if you have a boss that's worked from the floor all the way up, that's the kind of boss you want. And so there's I really, and I don't mean for this to sound boastful, but I've held so many different positions within football, is that I'm going to be surprised if some problem comes up somewhere that I haven't dealt with at one time or another already. So I think that's going to serve me well here.
Very nice. Yeah, I have to say I'm again very impressed by your pedigree, but I love something that you had said. You know, working for a boss that has worked their way up from the bottom all the way to the top, leadership like that, where you're leading from the front instead of from the back, that's what drives innovation and what allows for opportunities for success. So definitely good on you for doing that. I am very interested though, because we know anybody that's done any kind of research on the Continental Football League knows that this was one of the largest leagues back in the late 60s, right? It rivaled the NFL and the AFL before they made their merger. Unfortunately, the uh, the league did kind of fall on financial hard times, and it did eventually disband. The teams that were in it kind of, went their separate ways. And then, of course, San Antonio, having had the San Antonio Toros in 1969, absolutely, championship caliber team. Only got to show it off for 1 year though. But why the CFL? And now that you're relaunching the CFL, how are you going to play into the history of the said CFL? And how are you going to use that to drive your vision forward for this new league?
Um, there was another league that was forming well over a year ago, and there were quite a few people involved in it on individual team sides that I was close with and continue to be close with. And so they were calling me. I had nothing to do with it, but I gotten phone calls about, what's your opinion on this? What do you think of this? Would you be interested in being our director of football operations? And so all that kind of stuff was nice to talk about and see what the challenges were they were running into. So while all these other teams had these challenges, we had the Ohio Valley Ironmen are killing it. They're getting really good crowds. They're ingrained in the community, and they win their first 3 games 166-0, and everybody on their schedule dropped them. So now you have a brand name that was used before. You have a fan base already, and we had the model of how to be successful, because they didn't lose any money. They only played 3 games. They didn't lose any money. So there's a plan there. And so we've got this blueprint. And as we continue to talk, and I'm bringing up the Continental Football League. When I was a little kid in Waterbury, Connecticut, we used to go down to Municipal Stadium and see the Waterbury Orbits play. And they, in essence, were a taxi squad, if you will, for the New York Jets. And if you've ever seen the YouTube documentary on the Pottstown Firebirds, how they were basically a taxi squad for the Eagles, and their quarterback fashioned himself as a poor man Joe Namath back in the day, there's just so much history there. And as we continued to talk about all this, everything just started to come. And number one, I'll tell you, was nostalgia. I really enjoyed that when I was a little kid. I went there with my dad. We'd meet his brother there with my cousin, and we'd see the games, and it felt like that team was part of us, because now I had my own heroes that were playing with my town's name on the team, rather than some mythical hero that I only see on Sundays on television. I don't really know anything about him. I never got close enough to him. If you did,
Right,
were able to afford to go to a game, you're sitting up in up in the stands. You're so far removed, you never get to see your heroes. So I had local heroes, and as we continue to talk about all of this and putting it all together, then we started to identify all the things that we think are underserved in football. And one of the big, I struggle with name, image, and likeness now, and the way Division One has gone. That's not college football anymore. How do you build a team? You don't see kids develop. They have a good season. All of a sudden, somebody wants to give them some more money, and they turn around and they bolt. And it's trickling all the way down. You have guys that played really well at the Division 2 or 3 level, and now they think they're going to be able to go play Power 4, and they go into the portal, and what happens? They get lost. 43% of the kids that go into the portal end up with nothing. 43%. Now they have a place. Okay. Us. Okay. Because they come and play here. They're able to continue to with their craft, develop, continue to play. This is their opportunity. And that's the word that we're really going to push. This is an opportunity league. Don't feel like you're lost out there. We're checking into some things now still with the NCAA to see if that would still be a possibility for these kids. But certainly to give them a chance to, particularly kids that maybe went to a smaller school, didn't know how to get in front of college scout or pro scouts, how to really get evaluated. And I'll be honest with you, in working in personnel in both the Canadian Football League and the NFL, both leagues struggle to really identify players properly for their league. And in the NFL, they get overwhelmed with the game. They stop looking at the player and they start seeing the game and they don't understand it. And so now they don't think the kid can play for them. And in the CFL, they look at a guy and they think, oh my God, this is the greatest player ever. Well, he probably won't play that position that you're looking at him playing. In the NFL, everybody moves up a level. But that's the thing, is identifying and giving kids opportunity. And so we're going to go to camp with 50 players, and half of them have to be between the age of 18 and 25, because we really want this to be an opportunity for them to continue to play. There might be some really good high school kids that just didn't have a chance to get in front of college coaches, or they just, they didn't want to go to college, but they still want to play football. This gives them an opportunity, and what it also does is it controls that, this isn't going to be a league full of mercenary guys that are just traveling around the country trying to get a chance to play, and they're past their prime. And that's not what this is about. You got to think of this as AA baseball. These are guys that are skilled but need more honing, and that's a niche that we're trying to fill here now.
Very nice. So you had mentioned, that this is an opportunity for folks to move up. I know that there's been, some talk of, connections with other leagues. Would it be fair to say that basically that this is not necessarily like a true like farm club kind of thing, but that there will be opportunities for your players to connect with, let's say, like the Canadian Football League, or get opportunities to get in front of NFL scouts because of the programs that you have set up here?
Yeah, that's exactly what we want to do. We're not, if people think with it, we're out there looking to compete with the NFL and the Canadian Football League. There's no way. It's proven over and over again. I was in the original XFL. I was the offensive coordinator of the Orlando Rage. We were 8-2, and Jeff Brown, the head coach at Louisville, was my quarterback, and so I've seen it. And in Orlando, if it's not going to work with the structure that we had in Orlando and the fan base that we had, and when egos got involved in it then, and the plug got pulled. But again, it's about creating opportunity. And so, that's what we want to do here is give these kids a chance. But there's not going to be this huge overhead. We're not looking to compete. We're looking to supply and give opportunity for guys. And that's why we play the season when we play, because when we get done, there's still time for a kid to sign and get into an NFL camp. And then there's a big roster shift that happens in the CFL at Labor Day. So that our guys will be done, ready. And if they go, they can go. And that's what we're here for, is to provide that kind of opportunity. And so my way of thinking, we get 8 teams going. If we get 3 to 5 kids that end up in a CFL or an NFL camp, then we've been successful. We did our job, and then we just keep providing more guys with opportunity. And so that's what people need to understand. We're looking at ourselves as a feeder system. We are not competing at all with those other 2 leagues. It's not even a conversation.
Very nice. I know in the past some of the alternative football leagues have tried to do that and have obviously not done well with
No,
that. I do think it is a fool's errand to try and go up against the powerhouse that is the NFL. And I like the fact that you're addressing that you're not trying to, take them on, rather you're trying to supplement them.
right.
There's a couple of things that you did say though, while we're talking, NFL, CFL, things like that. I, there's something innovative and unique that you guys are doing in the Continental Football League that has really caught my attention, and that's the Continental Shift. For our fans who maybe don't know what that is, can you speak to what the Continental Football, or I'm sorry, what the Continental Shift is and why it's so important that you're doing that?
Okay. We've been talking here that we are looking to supply players to the National Football League, but also to the Canadian Football League. And my heart, to be quite honest with you, is with the Canadian Football League. I think it's an awesome game. I had great experiences up there in 2 different stints. As an offensive coordinator and then as a head coach and general manager. And it's about giving kids an opportunity. And so about 2 years ago, I was the head coach of the U.S. national team, and we were playing the World Championships up in Edmonton, and we took the whole team to see Edmonton's Canadian Elite Basketball League team play. And they had this really unique scoring system at the end of the game, so no game is ever out of hand. And the arena was packed. Nobody left when that 4th quarter rolled around, because there was this change in their scoring procedure, and everybody stayed. The fans went crazy. It made the game that much faster. And as we started to talk about, giving kids opportunities and the struggles that scouts have in evaluating properly, I said, well, let's do this. Let's change football a little bit. Let's give these player personnel people a real opportunity to see a kid play in a different set of rules, but also keep fans in the stands, because now all of a sudden they're going to see a different game. There's no way that you can sit on a lead now because of these changes. And so basically what we're going to do is play NFL rules the first 3 quarters. In the 4th quarter, we're going to have the Continental Shift, and we're going to put in modified Canadian League rules. The defense is going to move a yard off the ball. The offense now, the guys, the receivers on the line of scrimmage now can move laterally. The backs and the slots can now attack the line of scrimmage. So now you have full CFL type motion. We're going to go from 4 downs to 3. The play clock will go to 20 seconds. I love hearing all these college coaches these days talk about, oh, we go so fast. Go call plays in the CFL. You see how fast you go now. So now, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to speed it up to a 20-second clock. We're going to bring in the Rouge. If you don't return a missed field goal or a punt out of the end zone, the team that kicked the ball gets a point. So you have to get it out. And there won't, in the 4th quarter, we won't have a fair catch. There's going to be a 5-yard halo around the ball. And so you got to pull up, make that halo as the guy's making the catch. Now you engage, or if the ball hits the ground and is rolling, you got to keep that 5-yard halo around it as it rolls. And then when the returner picks it up, then it really adds a fun element to the game. Nobody's going to be able to just take a knee for 2 minutes and end a game because the clock's going too fast. You got to play all the way through. So now anybody has a chance to win a game just because of the tempo that'll be in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, when I heard about that, I got really excited. Football is an incredible game. We know that, it seems like every, generation or so there's something that happens that kind of shifts the game. We talked about it on our show several months ago, but like how the tight end position has changed and how the running back position has changed a little bit. Different things like that. I like that evolution, and this provides even more of that now, right? We get to experience something new and something riveting that will keep those fans, fully engaged there. So love that. I can't wait to see that happen.
I'm
But
getting I'm getting calls from coaches at Canadian universities that'll say, "Mike, I got a player here. He went to camp with a such and such CFL team. They didn't take him, so in Canada they bring them right back if they don't make the team, and they can still
Mhm.
play." And so now the universities in Canada are also recognizing, hey, this is a place where we can send our guys, and now they get to play a quarter of their own game, if you will, and the league gets to evaluate them better, see them play against a little higher caliber than what they were playing before, and now everybody gets to see both sets of rules, see how the kids' skill sets fit.
Very cool. So you just said something that prompts my next question. You have coaches, of course, in Canada contacting you to give, some of their players opportunities. From a regional standpoint, how are you planning on kind of structuring the league? I know you haven't talked or you haven't fully decided, what cities are getting teams. We only know about the three right now, which, by the way, I will let you know already, there is a very nice friendly rivalry already brewing between the Texas Syndicate and our San Antonio Toros. And I'm going to try and take a little bit of credit for that because that's what I do best is stir things up. But so you have those two teams, and of course the Ohio Valley Rivermen, I believe it is.
Ironman.
Um,
That,
Ironman, I'm sorry. There
yep.
you go. Uh, where are you looking to kind of place some of the other teams? Because I know there's also a travel element to this
Yeah.
that we definitely want to talk about also.
Yeah. Well, once the Toros came on, that day was kind of insane in terms of every way somebody could contact myself or the league. They were doing it. We had 7 different interested ownership groups just on that day that San Antonio was announced. And again, we're trying to revive some of these CFL or Continental Football League communities from years past, and that's all part of the process too. Is reviving you getting into stadiums that are underused, give an influx into the community. And look, we're going to start out with 8 teams. So we probably could get more. We don't want to. We want to get this first year under our belt, really understand what we're doing, and when I mentioned earlier Double A baseball, that's if anybody understands these leagues that failed, they had too much overhead. And we're going to be regionally based, and that's what we want to do is build 4-team rivalries, little pockets all over, okay, and all within an 8-hour bus ride. We don't want anything really longer than that, okay. And so you're going to play within the division. So it's a home and away within your division, and then one plays 2 in each division, and the only extended travel we have is the one divisional winner going to the other for a championship game. But we're going to be on buses. We'll build those local rivalries, and it makes no sense to me to, let's just say we put a team in New Jersey and all the players came from California, Texas, and Florida. How's that engaging that community? So we're going to have territorial rights each team. Once we get them all placed, then we're going to take a look at
Let's
the
go.
universities that are within a certain circumference of that team, and they have first right of refusal on the players coming from those schools. So we got the local element involved in it. And your final roster, which will be on game day, will dress 36 players, and then we'll have 4 on a practice squad. And of those 36 players, at least 5 of them, well, that's what we're thinking right now, 5 will have to be from your region. So we want to
Very
say,
nice.
hey, that kid played at UTSA. Remember him? Or that's little Johnny from down the street. Remember him in high school? And now he's a local hero here. Because we want little kids in the community walking to school with Toros jerseys on and Ironman jerseys and Syndicate jerseys, rather than, like I said earlier, mythical heroes wearing these NFL jerseys that they're never going to see those guys, but they come to our games, and we're looking to stay in smaller venues so that you have that hometown feel. That I use the word grassroots a lot, is that this is a grassroots deal, and we want the fans to feel like, all right, there's our guys right here, and they're talking to us and seeing us after the game and intermingling, and that's what we want to do.
I think that's an excellent plan. And I think it's very important, something you had said, engaging in the community. We have had football leagues here in San Antonio, and some of them have done a great job engaging with the fans as far as the players go, during game day experiences, things like that. But they don't necessarily practice here. They don't get involved in the community. They don't have people going out and visiting and things like that. So how do you plan on addressing that part as far as engaging the community and stuff?
Yeah, we absolutely want to be a part of the community. We're representing that community, and we'll have our kids engaged in meet and greets and promotionals and those type of things. That's going to be an important component. The other thing that's different than the other leagues is that the fans actually get to own a portion of the team, and we're actually going to sell stock. We're already registered with the Security and Exchange Commission, and it's modeled after what the European soccer leagues do over there. And so you'll have your head owner that put in their contribution to get into the league, but then there's going to be a portion of your ownership that's going to be from the fans, and it could be $100, it could be to whatever you want to contribute to get in, and then we're going to have advisory boards of people within the community. Okay, where are we missing here? How can we engage with the community more? And we're going to encourage our players that when they're in that town, is to look for employment that goes along with what their resume is from the degree that they got coming out of college. Because most of these guys, regardless of what level they played, they're done playing, and now they're 25, 26 years old, and they're competing against a kid that just came out of college. And most of the time, an employer is going to pay the 22-year-old less than they asked to pay a 26-year-old, and the 26-year-old doesn't have a resume that's any better than the 22-year-old. So we want to get involved in the community, start their networking, get them to start building on their resume a little bit, and hopefully we end up with guys that end up staying in that community even when they're done playing, that they've put some roots down. And that's what we're doing, is trying to fertilize the soil enough that people want to stay in these communities, get really engaged, have the fans as part of the ownership group, have the fans as an advisory board for each team, and really engage and make it something that the people say, oh, look, they responded to what we wanted, and come to the games and know that they've made an influence on it.
Very nice, very nice. I do have to say, I'm particularly interested in the fan ownership of the team. Being a Green Bay Packers fan myself, I actually own stock in the team. I own one stock. Absolutely meaningless.
There you go.
I get I get that opportunity to have the voice and whatever. But the owning the stock for me was a piece of memorabilia. It was something to get me even more connected with my team, with my roots, because I'm originally from Wisconsin myself. And it's something that, I can pass along to my children and they can own and they can talk about it and have fond memories of dad and, watching football games and whatever.
Right.
Um, this is going to play nicely into that because I, as a fan, now have that opportunity to do the same thing here in my local community and still have I can literally have my children involved with this,
Yeah.
which is huge, by the way, right? That's one of the things that we had talked about in previous shows on Texans Talking Football about some of the things that we lost with the previous team. Um, those those special moments, those connections, right? Now this gives us an opportunity to bring that back and have even more buy-in because now I own shares in the team and now I'm connected. Now I can have my girls out there with me and they can do their thing and connect and watch football. And you know how big Texas football is here, right?
Yep. Yep.
So this is huge for us girl dads because now we have an opportunity to share the love of the game with our daughters and get them connected and have it not just be a boys game. So super excited about that. And I'll get off my soapbox there on that one.
No,
Um,
that's a good one. That's people have asked me, "What's your demographics?" I said everybody, because so here I am. I'm a grandfather. My dad took me to Continental to go see the Waterbury Orbits. I loved it. So now I tell my kids about how much fun I had with my dad going to the games. Now my kids
mhm.
are taking their kids to the game. And it just we're hitting it all. We're hoping we're hitting some nostalgia, and we hope we're hitting some curiosity, with the continental shift, and engage people in so many different ways that mostly. Let's face it, football has an arrogance to it, and we're the game. You just come and worship us, and we're supposed to go like this. Nah, we're not doing that. We're like, hey, let's all do this together, have some fun with it. Let's watch some kids get some opportunities, being involved in your community. There's absolutely going to be a financial influx into a community that gets a team, and really pull it all in together and have some fun having a little different way to represent your community and create local regional rivalries, because that's the key. Regional rivalries is huge, so that's what we're really trying to build off of.
Excellent, excellent. Going with the regional rivalries, and you were talking about the traveling. 8 hours is going to be pretty much the max, right, for the 8 hour bus ride. Um, how do you think that's going to help you with building? And there's a reason why I'm asking this, but and I'll get to that in just a second. But how do you think that's going to help in building some of those regional rivalries? And the reason I ask that is because the San Antonio team that we were known for being the best travel team or the best travel fans, I should say, rather, out of the entire league. We
Yeah.
literally went to every single game, home, away, didn't matter. And it wasn't like two or three of us. There was usually about 30 of us or more. So in light of that, how do you think that is going to play out here? How do you think that's going to help some of those rivalries?
Well, that's good old Texas, man. You get those like caravans going. You get the team bus going, and then here comes all the fans right behind them, following the bus. Right, same thing. Same thing. Let's if it's an easy drive for somebody to go see their home team playing in a white jersey instead of a dark jersey, that's their chance, and make it easy, and get that rivalry feel in the stadiums. That there actually is a fan base from another team here. And that creates atmosphere. It creates an awful lot of fun. I hope we get a whole bunch of banter going between local media, whether it's newspaper or podcasts or whatever it is, and kind of stir the pot a little bit with it. Have some fun. When I was a little kid in Connecticut, you were either a Red Sox fan or a Yankee fan. There's nothing else, and it's still like that back there. and that's I'd like to see that type of good, clean hate, if you will, just that competitive, disgust for your opponent, but respect. Yeah, that's what we'd like to love to see.
Yes, sir. And again, we are already working on brewing that frenemy relationship between the two teams here in South Texas. And we may even be doing something special just for that. Don't want to go too much into detail with that because frankly, I don't really have all the details yet. But just for our fans to know, right, we are brewing up something special possibly to really kind of engage in that love-hate relationship, right? San Antonio and Austin has always kind of had that special, you know, we like you, but we don't like you kind of relationship. And
Yep.
just with everything, whether it's music, food, truthfully, San Antonio has the best tacos of any place in Texas. Austin seems to think that they do. They really don't know any better, but that's okay, right? We forgive them. So, all that being the case, right? There's so much to be excited about with this opportunity. But obviously there's going to be, more information that is going to be coming out, as far as like, the financial structures and things like that. I know those are things you can't talk about just yet because, that's your business. You release it when you're supposed to release it, the teams, things like that. But when can we expect, as far as the timeline, when can we expect to hear some more about the other teams that are coming in? I know Texas Syndicate is already talking about their coaching staff. When can we expect to see, more information so we can dive more into the people that are going to be leading our team and that are going to be on our team?
Yeah. Well, all of that is ongoing, and you'll see when it comes to inner workings of business. I'm a big believer. You don't even put out anything until it's the way it needs to be. And so I'll keep a lot of stuff close to the vest until we think it's ready to put out. And because there's nothing worse than speculation, and then it does, and then it doesn't happen. You don't want that. You want to make sure that you're putting the right message out. And we've it's been interesting, the people that want to coach in this league, that have contacted us, but it's all part of the onboarding process. It's all part of the finalization with okay, I know this team is committed to us. Now let's make sure they have a stadium to play in, because you don't want to announce the team and we want to make sure that that they have at least a good bead on where they're going to play, and can give us some I guess comfort level that we have a place to play, so we're not playing in an abandoned mall parking lot. We don't want to do that. So, but yeah, I just want to be sure that when something comes out, it's right. We've got a lot of interest in coaching in this league, and it's just a matter of you'll hear from us each week, and we'll start putting stuff out as it comes.
Excellent, excellent. And we you probably can't mention, specifics on this part either. But is there a potential that some of these teams might see some familiar names from other, opportunities, other, ventures that have happened?
There certainly could be. We'll see. But again, with the regional, with the territorial rights, there's going to be people that will recognize right away from their college and high school days in your town. That's the whole point of it, is to create those local heroes. And who knows who'll end up wanting to play in it, but again, like I said, I don't want this to be a mercenary league. I want guys to understand this is an opportunity league for you, and this isn't someplace where old dreams die. We're not doing that. We're here to make new dreams come alive.
Absolutely love that. So then the only other questions really would be, as far as from a fan standpoint, I'm sure you guys are working on merchandising rights and things like that. Is that something that we can expect a little bit closer to the season to start seeing come out? That way we can,
You're going to
give
start.
you all of our money.
I will say this: you're going to start seeing that earlier rather than later. Okay, we've had some.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we've had some really good talks, and again, announcements will be coming. But it's this has taken on this life that I'm not. We knew we had a good idea. We knew
Mhm.
that we're filling a niche that hasn't been addressed. But the response that we're getting now is quite rewarding, and that we must be striking a chord with a football community out there. But yeah, I got a little bit off track there, but we are, some of the companies that are coming to us that want to work with us with this. It has been really really interesting, and so we'll be getting stuff out there, but there when it's all said and done, there won't be a shortage of merchandise for Continental Football League teams. It's going to be out there.
Excellent. Yeah. Obviously, merchandise is a big deal. People use that to identify, their tribal association with their team,
I
things
know,
like
right?
that. I did see that. I was
Yeah,
looking,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
we got
noticed.
some samples that are coming in and taking a look at stuff, and we got people in West Virginia looking at it. I'm down here in Florida. It's New Jersey. Everybody's kind of just taking a look. Let's tweak this and get it right before we do anything. Out in public. We're looking at different things. We've got a good logo. I like it. It's just making it
Mhm.
right so when it goes on to material that it's consistent, and just doing things right. Yeah, I just want to make sure. I've worked with so many good football coaches, and if there was any one thread with all of them, because I worked with all different types of personalities, it's
Mhm.
it's pay attention to detail. And if you pay attention to detail, everything else will just kind of start falling into place. And so that's what we're trying to do. When we identified weaknesses in the system for kids to play, we took a long deep dive into why have other leagues failed. Of course I drew off my XFL experience, but
Mhm.
uh, uh, that's what we've done, and we have to continue to do that. We can't get overwhelmed with all this stuff that's coming at us. We have a 90-day plan that's been outlined, and we're going step by step with it right now. And that's the key to the whole thing. But we gotta make sure that people know that it's the Continental Football League, and that's what we're going to drive home, and then we'll bring these teams in and do it right.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Mr. Kelly, uh, first of all, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate that. Thank you for shedding more light on how everything is being set up and everything. I'm super excited. I'm a football guy. I love this game. I've had a passion for it since I was a child, much like you. We've had, several opportunities to have different football teams here, even some professional teams. And Red McCombs, lovely man that he was, definitely tried to do his part to bring professional football to San Antonio. Things didn't really work out so great, but he did help us with bringing UTSA and getting that established here. It was huge for us. So now you're kind of picking up in that venture and helping get that dream across the line to where we do have professional football here, and we have professional football here for a long time, right? Because that's the one thing that our fan base here is going to be most concerned with is longevity of the league. And it sounds like you definitely have a place or a plan in place rather for that to make sure that this is around for a long time. So again, thank you very much for coming in and talking to us. Super excited for what the season brings. Um, Go ahead and share your socials with our fans so that way they can follow you and they can keep up to date on the latest information.
Okay. You can go to COFLfootball.com. Now, when you type that in, it might kick it to colorful. So make sure you check that out. But we're on Facebook, Continental Football League on Facebook. We're on X or Twitter or whatever they call it these days. We're on there. I've kept my Twitter as Coach Mike Kelly, and I repost everything that the league is doing. But you can find us. We're out there, and that's another thing that's a work in progress, is getting onto all the platforms and doing it properly. Okay, you don't want to throw something out there and it's not well done. But I think if you go to our website, COFLfootball.com, that you're going to see some really interesting stuff. You'll see the history of this league. And I didn't even talk about history of this league that much, is that, Bill Walsh, the legendary coach of the 49ers, his first head coaching job was in the Continental Football League with the San Jose Apaches. Kenny Stabler played in Seattle before he stepped on the field in Oakland. Otis Sistrunk never played in college. He played for the I think it was the Norfolk Neptunes in Virginia,
Okay.
and went from the Neptunes into the AFL. So there's lots of history there. We've got it on the website, and just follow us along, because we're always making announcements. Something's always happening, and reach out to us too. You can reach out to me at commissioner at COFLfootball.com. And, and we'll answer questions. But I think the thing, if we can end this like this, Jay, is that the fans are going to be able to own a portion of the team. That's how you keep a team in your city. It's not just some wild entity guy that's got fun pocket change that he's having a deal and then his whim takes off. We're not that. We're the blue collar. Let's get into your town. Let's everybody be a part of it. You want a team to stay? Basically buy stock in it. It's yours. Then be involved with the advisory panels at each community. Okay, because now everybody wants to moan and groan. More people have access to grind than they have, diamonds to polish. And so, if you do, you have a voice. Let us know about it, because I'm telling you, sometimes these teams, they don't know that there is a problem until it becomes a problem. And any good leader will tell you, eliminate problems before they become problems. And that's what community involvement will do for us.
Coach Kelly, you were singing the songs that we want to hear, and we are so excited for it. So again, Coach, thank you for taking the time out to come and talk to us. Make sure, fans, that you are connecting with Coach Kelly, following him on the socials, and follow the COFL on Facebook and all that good stuff. I know there's going to be some really good information coming out in the next couple of weeks that is going to give more light. And that's one thing we didn't even necessarily really talk about, but this league is very big on transparency. So these announcements that are going to be coming out, it's going to be giving you more insight into the league and how everything is going and everything. And so, Coach, again, thank you so very much. We will definitely be riveted to our seats waiting to hear more information. And I can't wait until football season starts, man. So,
It's gonna be
Coach,
fun. It's gonna be fun. I just want to see kids light up, thinking, I didn't think I'd ever have a chance to do something like this. And now they'll put on that uniform, and that's a cool thing. That's what coaching is all about, to me, anyways. Is watching kids get opportunity and develop and reach goals that they never thought maybe they could reach. And that's what I hope. I'm almost sounding like rainbows and unicorns here, but it's an opportunity for kids to continue to play and for a community to have something to own.
yes, it's about continuing that dream and just giving folks that opportunity to chase that dream. So, again, appreciate you, Coach. We're gonna go ahead and sign off here, but thank you again. Wish you nothing but the best. We'll definitely be in touch again soon, and looking forward to that new season. All right.
All right. Thank you. It's been a blast. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay. You're going to put this.
Okay. So am I still muted? Hopefully my connection is a little bit better.
Yeah, you're good now. I
What'd you
can hear
think?
you. Man, that was really cool, really interesting. Obviously, as y'all saw, Jay was the one giving the interview. I was actually driving back from the Rio Grande Valley at the time, so I couldn't have been a part of it. But real insightful, a lot of good information, man. You know,
Re- Real,
it's
real quick, just so everybody knows, that was an absolute blast to do that interview, but it would have been so much more fun and so much easier to do had BD been there, because it wouldn't have been me having to think of all the questions and ask them.
oh yeah, no, that's all right. You did a good job, man. You did a good job. Man, a lot of good info. You know, I like I like kind of he wants to keep it for young players, 18 to 25, he said. Wants to keep it regional. That way, you know, you have people in the area, you've got familiar faces, you know, playing. It looks like he's kind of saying all the right things, you know. So
Mhm. Well, and I want to make sure that first and foremost, that interview, that was 45, well, about 47, 48 minutes of the conversation that we had that took about 2 hours, because there was about half an hour of prep time beforehand. And then there was at least another half an hour, 45 minutes of conversation after we ended the recording, just because there was so much to talk about, man. I mean, this is, we talk about how there's been other leagues, and I don't want to, make it sound like I'm casting stones or anything like that, but we talk about other leagues that have been like a league of innovation and a league of opportunity, and some of them have come through on that. But I think this one speaks more to the heart, because as Coach Kelly said, this is more a blue collar league. This is more something that we can connect with in a city like San Antonio that's primarily a blue collar town. Let's be honest. We don't have a lot of big tech here. We don't have a lot of, these crazy, CEO type jobs, things like that. Uh, this is a working man's town, dirt under the nails, holes in the jeans kind of town. And I think that, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but I definitely want to say for myself, that's something that speaks to me, that this league gets it and they understand that my money is important to me. And if I'm going to invest my money and my time into a team, they're going to want to try and give me the most value that they can for my money, i.e., having teams here doing players here doing meet and greets, having players here in the community, living in the community, finding jobs in the community, connecting here, and keeping that regional money here in San Antonio. And then understanding that, they want travel, or they want fans to travel and support their team. So they're going to make the rival teams no more than 8 hours away, right? All these things, they, again, I don't want to get too excited and put the cart before the horse here, but they're saying a lot of the right things. And it looks like they have a lot of thought and effort put into this. I would love to be able to share the financial information, but the truth is, I don't even know any, right? I'm not that in with this league that they're, sharing all of the X's and O's of their playbook with me. And that's perfectly fine. But I know the X's and O's are there. I can definitely tell you that. So I would say, again, not trying to bash any other leagues, not trying to detract attention from anything or anything like that. But start checking into this team on your own. Start asking some questions. Start sending the commissioner, you know, things that you want to know a little bit more about. And if he can share with you, he will. And if not, he'll tell you, you just be on the lookout. That information should be coming soon. So
and
again,
they're like you said, we're seeing more and more information come out, and I think that's good. I mean, it's kind of a newer, version of this league. I don't say it's not a new league. Obviously, it's not, because it was around in the 60s, but it's a new version of that league. But ever since it was kind of announced, we keep getting more and more information. Like you said, about every week or two. So, I know a lot of people, especially San Antonio, who just lost our previous team. They want to know every single thing about the league right off the bat. It's not all coming right now because it's not all set in stone. It's all information we want that we'll get eventually. But we gotta offer a little grace and patience with the league right now. As like you said, as the stuff comes out, as it's available to share, they're going to put it out. They haven't shown any hesitance to put out information. So
They have not. And so, couple of things. I'm going to drop a little teaser because we were kind of talking about it before we did the show. There is um a uh a person that we know that happens to be involved with this organization. We also interviewed the Texas Syndicate's owner slash general manager, what, last week,
2
right?
weeks ago.
Okay, so here's a little teaser. We're actually going to be having them on tomorrow, live interview, both people, and setting the stage for what we're going to be calling. What did we decide to call it again, Brian?
I think we should call it just the I-35 shootout.
Yes. And going back to something that I was teasing about in the pre-recorded interview, we are actually working on something. I don't want to give it away too much, but we are working on something that will help solidify that rivalry between the two teams that both teams will be fighting for. And it's not going to be just some simple little, trinket or something like that. We, having talked to a few people involved with it, we're going to create something substantial. That way, the players and the coaches and everybody else involved kind of know what they're fighting for, right? Kind of harkens back to those college games like Wisconsin and Michigan. I'm sorry, Wisconsin and Minnesota when they do the Paul Bunyan game where they fight for the Paul Bunyan axe, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe the Golden Hat with the UT games, or whatever A&M does. I don't know much about A&M and all the rivalries, but there's those symbolic pieces there that the players really grow a connection to, and we want to play into that. So just know that that's in the works, right? Don't want to speak too much on that because I don't want to give away the surprise, but we are going to have both owners on tomorrow at our normal time of 8 p.m. It's just a different day, and I, I will tell you, BD, in the spirit of our friendship and what we do for football teams, I have already taken several shots at Quincy and the Texas Syndicate, and I will tell you, man, this is going to be one of those really fun but very heated rivalries. I promise you. So,
Oh, hey, you know what?
uh,
That's what we do. So
yes. So, looking forward to having both of those gentlemen on tomorrow. We will also be interviewing, and I apologize, I'm driving. So if I'm looking away, it's not because I'm not interested. Uh, but we also will be having the owner of the San Antonio Toros on probably next week, Tuesday. And we are really going to dive deep into these two teams, specifically just the coaching staff and the different players and stuff. And I will spill a little bit of tea here that I have been informed. I asked Coach Kelly the question, but I have been informed that chances are very good that we may see some names on these rosters that we recognize from previous iterations of teams here in San Antonio. Can't tell you who because I honestly don't know who. I really don't. But there will be potentially some names popping up. Maybe it's some coaching staff. Maybe it's some players. Who knows, right? Maybe it's two certain grumpy old mascots that sit in stands and yell at people. I don't know. Um, We already know it's going to happen.
That'll be a familiar face for sure.
Yes. But again, I don't want to sell the league too hard. I really want people just to pay attention and let the league sell itself. But I really think there is serious potential here, and we really need to be paying attention to this league because I really do think that there's going to be some good stuff coming out of it, and it's really kind of what this town needs. So, but that being the case, I think we've beat this horse to death. We still have a couple of minutes left.
Do we? I mean, we're at the hour already.
Okay. Real quick recap of the Cowboys game.
Cowboys defense sucks. I mean, what else? No difference. Dak played his worst game of the year, but you know what? For once, I'm actually not gonna bash on him too much. The man's played absolutely amazing all season long. He's allowed one bad game. The defense is still terrible. So,
okay. So, do you expect any movement before the trade deadline to try and bolster that defense a little bit so you have a better chance? Or
Vegas said they're not trading Max Crosby. If I was Jerry Jones, I would give them whatever they want. Draft picks, cash, Stephen Jones, whatever they want. Just give it to them to get them over. I mean, we said we weren't trading Micah Parsons up until the day we traded him, so we've heard it forever. So you trade him if the deal's right. Cowboys need to make a deal that's right. But
yes,
you know what? If the Cowboys had a top 20 defense, we'd be a playoff team. If the Cowboys had a top 10 defense, they'd be a top contender in this league. So first off, we need a pass rush. Another game with 0 sacks. Got to have a pass rush. And, yeah.
Okay. Definitely understand that. I do expect to see some kind of movement from the Cowboys. Maybe they don't get Crosby, but I know that there's some other players that are potentially on the board, and maybe they're not going to make as big of an impact as what Crosby would, but they would still make an impact on your pass rush. So don't be surprised to see some kind of movement from the Cowboys, especially with those 2 draft picks that they got from us,
Yeah.
And Rick, thank you very much. The Packers did, in fact, beat Pittsburgh, but I'm still not there, man. Love's not the guy, right? He struggled.
You're
definitely
just too damn picky, all right? Y'all got the top record in the NFC. You got probably the best defense in the league. You know what? Just be happy with what you got, all right? You could be us. So, I don't want to hear your crap of, oh, I don't know. You're like you're the top team in the NFC right now.
Yes. And that's what I'm supposed to do. I will say this. Micah Parsons is now starting to make a little bit of a difference. Having some of the receivers that we have coming back, like Christian Watson, he definitely made a difference. Jordan Love is kind of starting to find his rhythm. You saw that fourth quarter, he definitely found his rhythm and really started to kind of take off. I need that guy all 4 quarters, though, right? Josh Jacobs, I'm a little concerned about because there was a little scare of an injury. Hopefully, it's not anything major.
Was
I know he did
that
come back
towards the end of the game?
Yeah, he kind of cleaned himself up.
Is that why he didn't play it all? Because did he play it all in the fourth quarter? I know the last probably 3 drives it was the backup, which was bullcrap because it cost me a fantasy game. But whatever.
Yes. I've had several players cost me fantasy games this season. It has been the worst showing by far. I'm 3-5 in both the leagues that I'm in. I may as well just sell the whole franchise and just walk away, right? Maybe I can get.
I'm doing okay. I'm in out of my 4 leagues. I'm in the playoffs. I'm like top in one of them, and then I'm middle of the pack in the playoffs in in 2 of them. So yeah, I'm doing okay.
Nice, but Green Bay, things are starting to look a little bit better. You're right. We do have, one of the top records in the NFC. We do have a top 10 defense. Things are kind of gelling. I will say though, if it weren't for Tucker Kraft, I don't know that we'd be able to say all the good things that we can about the Green Bay
Oh, of
offense.
course not.
Okay.
He's been a beast for you guys.
Absolutely insane. And I'm lighting candles, I'm doing the rosary prayer beads, I go to the Buddhist temple, whatever it takes to pray for protection over this young man, because he really is an asset to our team. He really makes that big of a difference. And I know there's some speculation about things going on with Matthew Golden. He supposedly deleted some socials and, getting all feisty and fired up and blah, 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 whatever. I don't know that they're necessarily using him to his full potential. I've heard some analysts rather say that he should be an underslot receiver, and they're not wrong because he has incredible lateral speed. He can make some really sharp turns and break out of coverage, and then use his top end speed to get further downfield. But this is also his first year, right? And
Yeah.
let's he may be a little bit frustrated, but maybe it's also because he doesn't fully understand the system that he's working in, and he needs to give it some time too. So I wouldn't read anything into that right now, folks. Let's get a little bit further into the season and see what's going on. Maybe somebody posted
I mean,
something.
let's give the guy more than like what 7-8 games in this first season of his career.
Oh yeah,
Let him get
oh
used to the NFL a little bit.
yeah. And then we'll talk about it later. But again, some pretty good games this weekend. That Monday night game, not so much, but overall, good stuff. Uh, we'll dive into college and everything probably a little bit more on the next episode. Not our special episode tomorrow, but our next episode next Tuesday. We can kind of break it down. And I do want to, we talked about it last week, I believe. I want to make sure that we're kind of diving into the high school aspect of football here a little bit more. And the reason why is because I do think that there is not enough spotlight shed on some of these kids that are coming out and going into the big program. I happened to look at Dave Campbell's website today just to kind of see where Texas teams rank overall. And there's a team in Austin. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's one of the powerhouses that always dominate Texas football. They're ranked number 12 or 15 in the entire country. Here's the sad thing. California has 4 in the top 10. Okay. They have 8 in the top 20. And Texas is supposed to be the home of high school football.
Yeah.
So that concerns me, right? Now I know a lot of it is private schooling and stuff like that where they can actually draft and recruit and do some of the not so scrupulous things that you do in public school, but I want to make sure that these Texas kids are getting an opportunity to be represented because most of them are on the same level as these California teams, and they're just not getting the love that they deserve, right? There's some really great comments here. Um, right here, Mike G. I definitely relate to your pain. I'm on the outside looking in, trying to figure out how I can break in. So it's bad. But anyways, so that being the case, again, special episode tomorrow,
Yep.
normal time, 8 p.m. And be ready because it's probably going to get a little bit spicy. I'm not going to lie. We're talking about 2 Texas. Well, uh, Coach Quincy is not exactly a Texas boy, but he's definitely adapted to that Texas attitude. So I'm
I mean,
pretty sure
we've
there's going to be.
adopted him at this point, so it's okay.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be some sparks flying. So make sure you guys tune in for that. And BD, thank you so much for hosting from the command center today. I cannot say thank you enough for that because obviously, my internet stinks and I'm driving, so it doesn't work well. But
No, it's all good, man.
all right, well,
Well, hey,
let's go ahead.
I will see you tomorrow. Everyone else, jump on and for our special edition show. It's going to be a lot of fun. So,
Yep. So, folks, we're still here. Okay. But thank you, fans, for watching. Thank you, XFL Mike G, everybody that supported. Thank you to Coach Kelly for coming on and sharing all that information and you know, giving more energy to something that was already kind of working towards feverish pitch. And I just can't wait to find out more, man. So that being the case, guys, take care. Go Pack, go. Go Birds. And I don't know, something bad about an NFC North team. So
you know what? Well, you know what, Cowboys, we got Arizona Monday night, and I will be at that game. So
let's
suck
go.
Suck it, Cardinals.
There you go. Little baby Kyler Murray.